Hey. All right. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, no matter where you are. Oh, this is so weird. I can hear myself. Okay. Hopefully, you aren't getting any echoes or anything awful.
Just your voice.
Excellent. Just me. I should put on my local guides hat. So, did you all get a reward this month?
I
That
did
looks
not.
stupid, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
Um,
I have not got a reward this month. No.
Go to your Gmail and look at the mail titled Your Month as a Local Guide.
Your June as a local guide.
Yep. You know what I'm struggling with hearing myself? I'm hearing the raw version and the bit that OBS has messed with. But that's okay. So we have three concurrent viewers on the stream now, which is awesome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Say hello in the chat, please. Ooh, you can hear my keyboard.
I got some socks.
Cool. All right then. How are you, Frank?
Can you hear me? Good. I was in settings, but so last time we were here, you couldn't hear me, so I think I played around with the settings and maybe got it right. Cross fingers.
We can hear you. And of course, young Terence. How are you?
Good, good, good. Very good.
Excellent. Let me set an appropriate back. Oh yeah, it's going to be backwards. No, I won't set a background. I should sit back a bit though, so my head's not so bloody big. All right, we may as well get this thing started. We can let other people in as they see fit to join, if they choose to. So we're streaming away. We've got viewers on the live stream, but they haven't said who they are yet, but they're sitting there. So that's okay. Hope they're enjoying themselves. So I'll start off. My name's Paul, and we have Max and Terry, who are our co-hosts today. Max is going to tell us all about himself while I get his contributions up on the screen. Yeah, I didn't actually mean to get them up on that screen, but
Hi everyone, I'm Max. I'm one of the local guides in Melbourne, and I love contributing to local guides and helping people discover family-friendly experiences in their city and accessible experiences in their city. I've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years, and I I love just particularly love Asian restaurants and food restaurants because they're just so you can get such great photos out of them. And I also really like doing 360 photos. So I have my 360 camera and I take that out to restaurants and I do some 360 photos as well.
some ratings by themselves in there. They don't actually show anymore publicly.
Really?
Yeah.
Not many one stars, Max.
No, I am a, I've given a few, but I'm a pretty positive person and I want people to have a good experience. Sometimes I don't review businesses if they've had a bad experience. I've had a bad experience. You hear today in the Age, in the Australian newspaper, a dentist sued someone for $170,000 for leaving them 4 negative reviews on Google Maps.
Well, that case was finally resolved.
Yeah.
But that wasn't so much a local guide as a fraudulent individual.
Yeah, I mean, you can only write one review. You can't write four.
Yeah.
If you're entitled to write one, but you can't make it count. You can't have 4 accounts. You can only have one per person.
That's correct. Now we're up to Mr. Terry.
Good day. Regardless, so my focus, I probably don't review as much as I should or could. And much like Max said, I don't like doing negative reviews, so I try to look at places and say, hey, I'm kind of roughly happy with this. So I will do some though where I think I can be a little bit humorous about it. Um, some of those probably don't do enough, but my focus generally, is getting out and about, just exploring, and tending to do a lot of street and street art photography, rather than necessarily reviewing stuff.
In the stream, we've got Ricardo who says hi. And says it's still Saturday in Mexico City, and he's a level 8. So that brings
as a
us.
fellow level 8, respect. Level 8, the best level.
I would disagree there, Max. I think level 6.
Older.
Terry's philosophy is the best level is the level that he is.
Mm-hmm.
I'll respectfully disagree with each of you.
Exactly.
I do sometimes leave less than positive reviews, and there's one there. Oh well, it's all good.
I know. I've done a couple of 1 stars. I have. Look, you really have to be really rude and have disgusting food to get a 1 star. Very, very few.
Yes. The other thing I discovered is that when you add photos separately, they don't show up in your review, which is a bit sad. But that's
It's a
okay.
shame.
That's why mine looks so boring. Anyway, it's time to head off to our first place. Let me just get that up. So we're going to do a virtual tour of Prahran today. Each of us is presenting a few favourite places. And if we haven't run out of time, we'll go into some street art as well. Terry's got a nice example of that as his background.
And we were going to actually do this as a real-life meetup. We were going to walk down Chapel Street, but unfortunately due to the lockdown COVID in Melbourne, we made this virtual. And I want to give a shout out to Sonia as well. Hi Sonia, who's watching. I want to say hi to my friend Sonia who's watching.
So she's on the stream, is she?
She's on the stream.
Hi, Sonia. Okay. Well, the first place I'm presenting is a little tiny theatre. It's quite a quirky one. It's called Chapel on Chapel. And kudos to me for trying to do that in the wrong screen. Chapel off Chapel, you're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm. And it is it's on Little Chapel Street.
Yes. So it was once a chapel, and now it's a theatre. And you get the most strange, weird, and wonderful little plays there, as you'll see in the photos. And lots of people like the joint, so it's quite a cool one. If you like something a little bit unusual, that's the place to go. All right, so we'll move on to the next one, which is, as soon as I can get it up, Max talking about Gelato Messina. Take it away, Max.
Oh, Gelato Messina is one of the best gelato places in Chapel Street. They always have a lot of vegan options, or dairy-free options for me, because I can't have dairy, so they're really friendly. And they're affordable and they're really yummy. So I've been there about 10 times. Always had a great time there. My wife loves it more than I do. She loves it. So that's why I decided to do a review. I took and put some photos up. I took my daughter there for her first birthday, and we just had some ice cream together. And if you're in the area, I'd recommend getting some sorbet there, some gelati there.
Very cool. Okay, on to our third place. If you'd like to start talking about Hawker Hall while I get it up, Mr. Terry.
Oh, Hawker Hall is I suppose, describes itself as a food and beer hall. So it's themed on a Southeast Asian fusion type food. Usually pretty packed, lots of little tables. One thing I really like, and that top image there is a panoramic shot of the bench where you can sit and eat overlooking the kitchen area as they're preparing meals. It's very, very tasty. Lots of wonderful beverages. Um, very popular. Very difficult to get a seat at, but well worth the
Yeah,
effort if you
yeah,
do.
very tough.
Very, very well worth the effort if you do.
You know, during COVID, they had really a lot. They gave 50% off for nurses and frontline workers. Pick up, which was really generous. They really looked after the frontline workers during COVID, which is great.
And it's owned by people who own Chin Chin in the city as well. So it's similar type restaurant of that, but it's as you can see there, Max's review. It's
Max has been there too.
I've been there.
Funky Asian fusion.
Oh, so Terry lives in the area, and I also used to live in the area, and I still live quite close. If you actually, Paul, can you scroll up a picture? Scroll up. Click on that. No, sorry, down. Down
One
a bit.
more.
If you click on that one,
That's at 360.
360. Yeah. So, and there's me. I
Hey.
try not to get in my photos, but that one.
And the cool thing about 360 is you look at the roof.
Yeah, it's nice. Huge ceiling. And
No.
there's a DJ at the booth.
And this is the area I was speaking about, where you can actually sit at the overlooking the food preparation area.
I know him. That's funny.
Really? That's so fun. Now I can't. I don't. Yeah. As I'm just a volunteer, local guides. I don't blur my photos. It's a lot of work to do graphic design and blur all of them. So everyone gets to be featured in my art on Google Maps.
I actually thought the app did it for you these days.
You have to manually do it, and I uploaded a lot of photos, so I'll get around to it if I choose.
Cool. All right, my next spot, and we're actually running a little bit ahead of time, which is quite amazing.
Actually, I wanted to share with you, I put in the 5th birthday meetup channel, I put a link to a food blog about Hawker Hall.
Drop it into the chat here, and I will copy it into the stream.
Yes. So,
Copy, and I'll paste it over in the stream here so people in the stream can read it.
yeah, so I decided to share some of my food experiences on a food blog, because, with your Google reviews, you don't want to go too long. So this, I can sometimes have an expanded review on my food blog, which is like a WordPress blog. Just because I love food. So if you want to learn more about my experiences in Melbourne food, check out my blog at maxplusfood.com. And I embed a lot of the photos from Google onto it, like my 360s. You can embed it into a WordPress blog, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, which means you don't have to pay for your own storage.
That's true, yeah. No, but also WordPress doesn't support 360.
Cool.
It just supports normal images.
Yeah, so I lived in Prahran, so most of the areas that we've been looking at have been up and down sort of Chapel Street around this area. I lived in Prahran at High Street many, many years ago, and one of the places I used to like going was Victoria Gardens. And not so long ago, I visited it to make some street view, and I just noticed it didn't all work, so I'll have to go back and do those bits again.
Sometimes I've noticed that it's hard to go back or fix a street view. It's like it calcifies after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, it certainly can be. So I do some wandering and do the paths and things.
Are you holding the camera? Are you holding the camera, or are you hiding the bushes? There you are.
I'm just wandering around on a monopod,
And which camera did you use?
the Theta 360, and now it won't move. Of course not. That's because I'm on the wrong screen. And the other part, that's not what I wanted to do, but that's okay. I didn't do the paths in this area, but I did wait for a moment when there was no one in the playground, and I just clicked on the wrong image. That's the picnic area,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a little
It's a
playground.
beautiful playground. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful playground.
Yeah, I had to wait for a moment when there were no kids in here.
I once took a 360 in a shopping centre, and one of the people who was in the photo, who was working in retail at the counter,
Hey, it's me.
messaged me saying, "Hey, can you remove this photo?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." But how did you find me? They found me on Facebook.
That can happen as a local guide, yes.
That's okay. I was happy to help them.
Hey, just blur them out anyway. Or did they not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
having the image of their shop?
It was calcified, so I could only remove it. I couldn't
I was
blur
going
it.
to add to Paul Victoria Gardens because that's not far from where I am, so we'll occasionally visit. I've got another park in between me and Victoria Gardens.
Do you want to look at that one?
It's not that exciting.
You know, interesting.
It does have a playground, but it's not that exciting. But I was going to point out that the Victoria Gardens, it's got a sunken oval, and every year hosts the local council spring festival where they'll give away free plants and have different displays from community groups and things like that, and they're set up on the oval.
That's really cool.
Not during COVID, but they have in the past.
They also have Christmas
Yeah.
recitals there. As well.
Recitals and and performances and things like that. Yeah.
I think one thing I find interesting about Victoria Gardens is also the name of a shopping centre in Richmond.
And in the western suburbs, there's another one.
No.
And in fact, in Prahran, if I just close Terry's
There's
thing
another one.
and search for Victoria Gardens, there's the main, that's the little one, and there's the main one over here, but that's also Victoria Gardens. So,
Was Victoria Gardens originally much bigger?
No.
well, before we came and colonised the joint, yeah, it was. And I think it was called Bunurong. I've got to copy this link again now because Terry's going to tell us about Greville Records.
Yes.
And you've got a bit of time, mate, so go in depth.
Okay. So, Greville Records is a very old school record store. Perhaps more of a focus on alternative and second-hand records. You can get a lot of really cool Japanese imports, things like that. They also, as the pictures there, run events. This is actually a book launch that was run at Greville Records. They will also do the odd live performance and shows like that. Now, a couple of the
Seems I've been there too.
Yep. You mentioned Steve, one of the other guys who owns it, Warwick. He's a very big supporter of Richmond, the local football club for those who may not be from Melbourne. And what he has done as part of that is helped the coach source records which are then given to the players as motivational pieces. The other thing that he's done is produced a special run of Greville Street Record t-shirts in club colours with a number of one of the players on the background, on the back of the thing. So
Oops.
I don't know if you can see them. I should have probably worn one today and showed you the number. I do.
Bit of Richmond action.
Yeah, so you'll have that. Can actually, I do have a photo, and I will put it in my link, and then I can actually show the t-shirt when we get to it.
This is quite interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a Google Street View shop or Street View photo inside a shop. But look whose this one's from.
I think that might be because Greville Records is a really high reputation, so maybe Google did it because it's such a niche, cool place, maybe.
One of our other Malcolm local guides has just joined us, Adam. We're just looking at Greville Records, Adam. Yeah, it's quite possible that it's such a high-profile place they jumped in. But they have an amazing selection of stuff. They've also got old posters, tour T-shirts that you just can't find anywhere.
They often host live gigs as well and gigs outside. It's very, very special place in.
Yeah, it's cool. In fact, since we've got a touch of time, let me just very quickly show you what I did when I was there. If I can find it. If. Oh, there we go. Last time I was in there, I was part of the crew shooting a movie, and that was one of our stars. So she was just about to come in and browse some records as part of her shots.
Oh, beautiful.
So that was good fun. Not something you get to do every day. All right, now we're off to Max, who's going to talk about Soda Rock.
Oh, yum. Soda Rock is such a cool place. It's like an old school American diner. They have, hot dogs and fries and burgers and milkshakes. And it's just a really cool vibe. They even have the staff on roller skates, and they sing old classics. Yeah, they're a really good one. I really recommend them.
Closed for lockdown. Bummer.
Yeah, they're not super healthy, but they are super tasty. And I remember going there when I was a kid for my birthday parties. We would all the kids would hop in a booth. Mum and Dad would give us $1 or $2, and we put it in the booth in the machine, and we'd choose songs from Elvis. So that's a really cool vibe. And they actually moved from Chapel Street. They used to be in the roller skating rink on the corner, and then they moved.
That's where I went there.
Down. They moved down Chapel Street further to. I think they're almost in the Jack Factory or slightly outside of the Jam Factory.
Now, you might think that was an image that didn't belong, but it actually does.
What do you mean? How does it belong?
It's a 1950s car with a 1950s girl in a 1950s diner.
But is it at the diner?
Yeah, it's right at the front.
Oh, it's an edge case.
It's a USO performing group.
That's cool.
I've always thought their booths are just a little bit rude, though.
What do you mean rude?
Well, the angle.
Okay.
Use your imagination. And they're definitely Elvis fans.
Oh yeah.
And deep fried onions, deep fried potatoes.
Curly potatoes. I don't think they're. Go back. I think they're curly fries.
Oh, they could be. Yep. They do a bloomin' onion too, I think.
I love blooming onion.
Oh, yeah. Cool. All right.
And then there's another place I just want to, because we got time. I want to share with you another nice place. It's a bit healthier.
What is it?
In the chat.
Oh, you put it in the chat.
Put it in the chat, in the messenger chat. No. It's called Hooked Fish and Chips. And I put the review link in the chat. Here we go. And
Cool octopus.
Yeah, you know how many times that photo has been seen? The wall one. That seems to be the cover image for for that listing. That one has been seen 8 million times.
That's impressive.
Yeah, thank you. So 8 million times. So it's a great place. They have you can get your steamed fish, you can get calamari. They're a really good place.
Does seem quite popular.
Have you been there, Terry?
Yes.
Proper
yes,
calamari.
You occasionally get home delivery from there as well.
So you rate them too?
Yes. I'm not sure I've ever actually done a review, but I'll have to go there and do one.
You know, it's
Yeah.
nice when you find a local guide that's taken a bit of effort in their shot. And of course, they've brought in their vintage Casio watch.
Maybe that is not a local. Maybe that's not a local guy. Maybe that's like a professional. That looks like a pro.
Yeah, a great photo.
Flat lay.
Yeah, in comparison to all the other photos, it's quite impressive. The octopus features a lot. I'm pretty sure I've been here, but I don't think I've ever reviewed it. No, because it wants me to write one. But it was a long time ago, so I won't do that. Another place, there's two of them, look. Might have to fix that later. But another...
I think the Revolver might be. They've also got like I think Revolver has a co-working space.
Yeah, there's Revolver upstairs and Revolver downstairs. Revolver downstairs is the co-working. But this wasn't on our list because we thought we'd run out of time, but there's no way that's going to happen, so that's fine. Revolver is best described as completely eclectic. It's furnished out of the second-hand junk shop just up the road, and they have quite nice food. They have lots and lots of music events. Not so many right now, but usually lots. And it's a really cool place to go. It's got an awesome vibe. The only sad thing about it is that one of the photos I just saw on here shows quite clearly it's not the slightest bit accessible.
It's very inaccessible.
Yeah, the only way up there is those stairs.
No, there's another way up there.
Oh,
There's another set of stairs.
Yeah, in the back. They're the stairs on the outside.
No, there's a few stairs. Then actually my favorite kitchen was in there. They've got Colonel Tan's Thai kitchen upstairs. But I haven't been there in ages because I can't take my pram up there, so I haven't bothered to go in.
It used to be called Two Thai Dies, but now it's Colonel Tan's.
Well, we've got a comment here from Sonia. She says, I haven't been to Soda Rock in ages. I need a greasy burger at Stat. Oh, and fish and chips. Yes.
Actually, Soda Rock's a lot like Five Guys. So if you've been to New York and you're pining for a Five Guys, go to Soda Rock. Very similar burgers. Or if you're in New York and you're pining for a Soda Rock, go to Five Guys. But yeah, it's a really, really cool venue. And it's interesting a comment you made about a pram, Max, because accessibility is not just about people who can't get upstairs. It's about people whose life circumstances change them. So you would have quite happily gone up there before. So next up, we have Terry and the Clap.
Clap audio visual. So this is a place I go window shopping a lot. I don't need to buy new hi-fi equipment. Basically, it's a old school hi-fi shop. And if you look there, nice looking valve amps, quite expensive equipment. I have visited once when I was doing
You're not kidding. 18,495 for an amp.
Yes, and then you look at a nice valve amp, provide you a nice warm sound. The turntable I have is supported by them, so I've had to take that in and have some work done. Very quick. They did it whilst I waited there. It just needed a little bit of solder, and they didn't charge. Which is why I rated them quite highly. You know, we had a good chat, but I'll often go there window shopping because, as I said, I don't need to buy stuff at the moment. But if you ever find yourself with a bit of money and want to listen to music in a good situation, you know, they're the types of places you go.
I'll have to speak to you, Terry, afterwards because I want to get a new home theatre system. I'll have to get your advice.
What? Don't.
Don't go to Clap.
Don't get a home theatre system. I generally tend to have a standard old school hi-fi.
Back in the
But they'll do home theatre systems.
yeah, back in the late 80s, about 1986, I think, maybe 87, when I lived in Prahran, I did get a turntable from Clap. It was in their bin out the back. But it still worked.
Yeah,
That was
and it's
student housing.
These places, though, they're not that many still around. There's a lot that have disappeared. Um, so a lot of hi-fi places have disappeared. Ensel, which was a very long-standing one in Richmond, is gone. A lot of them, I think, have been pressured through the online streaming and the move to home theatre type setups.
Indeed.
Well. Yeah.
You know, I listen to all my music through my mostly through my phone these days, or I watch YouTube. I listen to music on YouTube on my home on my TV, and then it goes through my home theater.
Well, I'll be not next week, the week after. I assume I'll be spending a fair bit of money at Gravel Records, buying some records,
Because you didn't today.
Because I didn't today, didn't yesterday. Mainly because it will be my second AstraZeneca shot, and when I had my first one, the side effect was feeling lightheaded and going and spending too much money at Gravel Records.
You're going to get your 4G chip upgraded to 5G.
I'm going to stick with the 4G chip.
Okay. Yes.
Is,
I've had the Russian roulette shot too.
My Microsoft subscription, my Office subscription is up for renewal, so I'm going to get the chip so I get a good discount.
Sylvie is joining us. Hello, Sylvie. Sylvie's here from a long, long way away.
Hi.
G'day, Sylvie. We're talking about our favourite restaurants in Melbourne. Did you have one that you wanted to add?
Or Prahran specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I would almost bet that Sylvie hasn't been to Prahran, but you never know.
What do you mean?
You can't make these assumptions.
Is Sylvie a local?
Sylvie's from South America.
Oh, okay. She's a local guide, not a local. Okay.
The next place I was going to show is Cisco's World of Coffee. And I haven't reviewed it for a while. It gives you an idea how long I've been a local guide, doesn't it? I think those words cover it nicely. Supreme blend, consistent, warm, gentle. Makes an awesome stovetop espresso roasted on site. Every Thursday. Cisco's is run by two brothers. One of them's not very far from you, Sylvie. He's currently in Brazil and he's been trapped there for about 9 months.
Oh no! Can you show us your photos that you've uploaded from Cisco's World of Coffee?
I'm not sure I have.
If you scroll down and you see, go to your photos, you might.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
It was that long ago. But no, they roast my blend on Thursdays. So if I'm in Prahran on Thursday, I go and get it.
Well, I think it's been about 3 years since you've been there. If you scroll up. There you go.
I'd agree with that.
3 years ago.
Yep, I'd agree with that. That would have been the 2018 photo walk.
That was a good one.
Yeah. That's the one. All right, so next up is Peter Peepo. Oops, I need to paste it in there. So we're a little bit fascinated with ice cream as Melbourne local guides, or gelati anyway. So this one is actually it should be gelati shop, not ice cream shop. Maybe I'll fix that later. Because it is only gelati, I think. But these guys make awesome gelati. It's not made there, it's made in their other one, but brought over to here. And they have lots of cool stuff, lots of interesting flavours, stuff that you might not find in other places.
Where is that, Paul?
Oh, no, here, this is the Nutella fountain.
Yeah.
Is it Nutella or chocolate?
Chocolate. Endless pumped chocolate. It's the corner of Union and Chapel. It's right across the road from Clap.
But and Hawk Hall. I wouldn't be surprised though if they did switch it for Nutella at one point, because Melbourne went Nutella crazy a couple of years ago.
They do Nutella stuff.
Ugh, too nutty for me.
The girls that work in there dance while they make the ice cream too. So it's kind of place. Remember, you're mentioning Nutella.
Ugh.
Hang on, we got to zoom in on this and upset Max.
No, no, oh, I can't handle it. No.
You can get, I believe, personalised Nutella things, so we'll chip in and buy one for Max with
I
Max
think
written on it.
think that's a good idea.
Because I can't have I'm double allergic to Nutella because I can't have dairy, and I can't have nuts, hazelnuts.
It is boring, Max.
I love food. I just don't love those foods. I love food, but some food doesn't love me.
So we're still a little bit early, but what we're going to do is have a look at some street art now. So Terry will take us through that, and a lot of that comes from this place, Artist Lane. But let me get his album up, and
So we'll go up. What we can do is move through the maybe go, yeah. So we'll move. If you want to, Paul, if you want to go towards the end, it's the thing because I did mention Greville Street before, Greville Records. So if you go to those two, not that one, not that one, go the other way, that one. So I talked about Greville Street Records and Warwick, who's one of the owners. Now Warwick, as I said, is a big Richmond supporter, and he produces. He's produced 3 special edition Greville Street Records T-shirts with a number of one of the players on the background. So this is from when Richmond won the 2019 Grand Final. Number 50 was for Marlon Pickett, who played his first game in the Grand Final. And Greville Street Records then brought out a range of T-shirts.
so he's a bit younger than you then.
Yeah, with Greville Street Records on the front, their logo on the front in black and yellow, club colours, with a picture of the Premiership Cup, and then on the back, the number 50 for Marlon Pickett.
Cool.
And that's when we got to go through. So that's it. Now, if we want to go...
Richmond is a Melbourne football team
Club. Yep.
from Australian rules football, which is unlike anyone else's football. It's just a bit weird. And for those of us who follow Richmond, we had a 32-year drought with no success whatsoever.
Yep.
And did 2 years in a row. Woo.
And it's kind of
Three of the last
almost
4.
like Victorian football. Like it's very popular in our state.
So if you want to go...
Victoria.
Yep. So that, and you can see the Greville Street Records logo on the front of the shirt. So they've done that for the three last premierships. If
Cool.
you want to go to the one with the kids hanging up the coats, Paul, and then we'll kind of move back and forth. So earlier in the thing, Paul showed Chapel of Chapel. So this is a wall of a childcare centre that's just down the street from Chapel of Chapel, showing obviously kids. There's a few more kids along there of hanging up coats on the wall as you go in there. So that's not far from Chapel Street, not far from the Chapel of Chapel theatre that Paul showed earlier. Yeah, so let's go back and see. Now where would we go? I can't control it, can I, Paul?
No, we can go to the start.
Yeah, go to the start, and we'll just run around different areas. So we'll go to the start and just flick through. So there's a little street, side street down the bottom end of Chapel Street called McClick Street. This is a piece of tribute art to a local Melbourne actor who passed away in 2013. So her family and I think her partner organised for an artist called Nikita to paint this and put it up on the wall as a tribute to her. Couple metres down from that, so the next one I think is an image by Deb. This is on the side of a Thai restaurant. Deb's quite a well-known Melbourne street artist.
And appears all over the world.
And appears all over the world, so there's lots of her street art around the city. There's some down in St Kilda on a side of a cafe.
Yep.
There's
Mission
lots
District in San Francisco,
Yep.
Brooklyn in New York, Meatpacking District in New York, Chelsea in New York.
Yes. So we go to the next one. This is from one of my favourite laneways for street art. So Melbourne, for those that don't know, has got quite a few areas where there's lots of street art. Quite a few in the CBD and the Central Business District. This one's a little bit, I prefer this one. It's a little bit better, I think. The quality of the art's a bit better, but also it tends to get visited less by taggers. So this one's sitting in a car park underneath not a car park, but a carport type thing at the back of the business, on the side wall there. We just keep going through them, I suppose. Next one. So this is again is in this area, the same area. It's called Artist Lane. It's a street sitting behind the little ice cream shop and those areas of streets we looked at earlier.
So it says Mr. M. Is that Mr. Miyagi? Is that part of Mr. Miyagi?
What did you...
Who
No,
knows?
that's on. That is actually. I think that's on the wall on the other side of the laneway from where that would be. But it's quite possible because some of the businesses in there have. So there's certainly images on the backs of some of the businesses in there which are consistent with the nature of the business.
Yeah,
I think the Bendigo Bank, in one of the corners of the image on the Bendigo Bank, is a little emblem which is which Bendigo Bank use.
this is one of the oldest pieces of street art I know that's consistently survived.
And the next one I think is one of them. So this is actually quite a large piece. It's not doing justice, but what you can actually see there is stairs up on I think the second level of the building. And it's predominantly, nice bees and things like that. And we just keep looking at I think this is in the same spot. This is a car park. On one side you've got that big tall multi-story building, those bee images. Then on the other side of the car park you've got other images.
Reminds me a little bit of the car park in National Institute of Circus Arts.
This is it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Circus Arts car park. That's where the Nicker sign.
Yep.
I never think about it as Nicker, but yeah, okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
And this one's by Caffeine, also, who's covered the world in paint.
That's a great one.
Yeah. So keep going. This one, I'm not actually sure where this one is, but it is around that area. I couldn't actually identify the street when I went back looking at it yesterday.
It's very close to Greville Street, but I don't remember the name of the street
Some of the
either.
photos you should be able to go into the settings and see where you took it. Something maybe.
Yeah. I don't think I had GPS on my camera when I took this.
No.
Yeah.
So Terry, these aren't on maps?
No. These are my personal collection. Now this is
Sometimes they don't fit neatly on a maps listing, or they're not relevant to a listing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, what category would you use?
So this one is Percy Street. Percy Street's a little laneway behind High Street, so you get to it coming down off from the Prahran railway station. There's little examples in there of street art as well, and there's a few. So these are all from that area. Lots of little, I suppose, workshops and mechanics along there, and their walls have been festooned.
And it's just down the road from a big art school.
Yes, yeah, which helps.
And this person's learned how not to get over-tagged for a long, long time, is put it up high.
Yeah.
And so these are just more examples of this area. I think I've got another one of that pyramid coming down. Yep, there. And then we move on to one of my favourite places, another one of my favourite places. This is the Windsor Railway siding. So this is right down the bottom end of Chapel Street.
This is what Terry looked like when he was younger.
This is on the side of one of those self-storage companies. So they've actually got some
Is that
street
near
art
Dandy Road, Terry?
not far from Dandy Road. It's
Yeah, I've seen it.
yeah. You might. It's off the back
Yeah,
of Union Street near the railway crossing.
That's right. Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah. So some of these, I think, over the years have started to disappear, and get, covered and tagged, etc. Just keep moving through there. This one's another interesting one. This is recognised as Johnny Cash. This is actually on the side fence of a house.
On the inside.
This is on the outside. Notice the image behind me, which we'll look at. That's actually on the inside of the fence. So they have a low open fence. This is at Union Street in Prahran. So, and that's it there. So this is actually in the front yard of this house. That other one, Johnny Cash, was on the side. So they're on a corner property. They've done the side fence, and then they've done the inside of the other side fence, where you can actually see it from the street.
Yeah.
And were they invited, or did they just hop the fence?
I've got a suspicion that as you said, it is near an arts college, so it's quite possible that there were residents living at the house who felt the need to express themselves.
It is quite possibly a student house. Ours was.
Yeah. And this is just more of that side of that fence.
That's cool.
That is cool. Yeah. So
I like it. I like it.
yeah. So this is not far from across more or less across the road from the storage place with the other street art. So this is on the back of that place, and some of this has disappeared, I think, over the last couple of years. But this is some examples again from the Windsor Railway siding area on the back fence, the back of the building. And this is this is a rather large panorama, and I've got some close-ups as we get into it, so to show you what's actually within the panorama.
Yeah, sadly, this one's been getting covered up lately.
Yeah, you can see it starting with the bottom of tagging. So the panorama basically covers a lot of scenes of Melbourne. So Skipping Girl, Little Audrey there, Flinders Street's the next one.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, whenever you're in Melbourne, if you come from overseas, someone will say, "Meet me under the clocks."
Yep.
Yeah.
These are the clocks they mean on the front of Flinders Street on top of the stairs.
Although that's changing a bit, Paul, because now meeting under the clock could also mean meeting at Melbourne Central.
No. It could only ever mean Flinders Street.
You could also refer to that one as meet at the emo breeding ground.
Under the clocks.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
because,
true.
There used to be pre-COVID. There used to be a lot of emos that meet under there. Young emos.
And it's also a song by Weddings Buddy Anything.
Yes.
Under the clocks. So this is just more of the
On the Yarra?
Yes, there's a very famous large billboard on top of some unused silos that are getting turned into apartments now, I think.
yes.
Oh, really?
They are. Yes.
You can live in a silo soon.
Wow.
There's a lot of work on that. So another.
Slightly long exposure there.
Yeah.
That looks great.
Actually, I think that long exposure is cool. It gives it life.
It's also that you had these young kids playing basketball there, and Dad was there with them. So if I got asked, I'd show lots of long exposure. You can't identify them. This is actually on another wall of that place too. These are older ones, and I think there's a little playground near there. So I think they've done these sequences of native animals.
As much as Terry tried, this was as close to an echidna as we could get, Max.
Let's keep it PG, Paul. Let's keep it PG.
We did get a drop bear.
2.
2 drop bears.
And she does look slightly grumpy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Now this is heading back up Chapel Street. We talked about the Arts Centre. So this is on the side of the Melbourne Polytechnic.
Which used to be known as Swinburne College of the Arts.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you got the National Institute of Circus Arts at the back of that, Max. So this is a piece from there. Got another. The next set of shots are actually in the back of these things. So this is at the back of the laneway behind the Polytechnic.
A lady that we know well is Pauline. She's Australia's chief racist.
Is it Pauline, is it?
It is Pauline.
Yes.
I think it's maybe referencing when she wore a hijab in Parliament.
Yes.
I have a feeling it predates that.
Yeah, I think it got edited later. Lush came back and did it again. I should say Lush Sucks came back, because Lush Sucks and Lush are not the same people.
Oh, who's Lush? Is Lush? I didn't know. I thought when I think Lush, I think of the soap brand. They sell Lush soap.
No, the other one was famous for painting female body parts.
Oh,
Now the next one is quite a prominent piece of work. This is again is on the side of the Melbourne Polytechnic.
Beautiful.
This is called Deaf Dancer. It is by Quodo Van Helten. Now, the Melbourne Polytechnic and the previous Swinburne campus there had a long history in they actually do a diploma of Auslan there, so there's a strong relationship with the deaf community. But also, Gildo Van Helten has done a lot of the silos in the silo trays, grain silos around in rural towns.
Hey, that's something we could do a meet up on in the future. The silos.
I have done the, I've got a few from.
So have I.
silos. And I do want to do the ones in the Wimmera again because there's been some new ones added.
Indeed. And going right into South Australia and right up into New South Wales now.
Yes, I have done. Oh, I did get the one at Coonampin, which is in on the way to Adelaide.
Yeah.
March. So when I went over, so that's got a beautiful one there.
Yeah. Basically, it's spread across our country areas of all of these grain silos that, if they're used at all, are used once a year. And Grain Corp, who own them all, it's a semi-government body, have allowed people to paint them over about the last 10 years or so.
And a lot of communities, they're not just grain silos too. In a lot of communities, they've reached out and they're doing water towers, and I think even Grain Corp has done some grain trains too.
Yep.
Particularly in New South Wales and Queensland, I think. But certainly, a lot of places have now done these bodies of work, which are often really quite fantastic.
Yeah, it's a really cool way to get people to come in too, because you'll see, if you stay in one place, you'll see hundreds of people who are going to see each silo each day. And of course, at least some of them stop in the town and buy them lunch or drink or whatever. So it helps the local economy.
Again, this
The Don.
On the back of some of the premises just near the Melbourne Polytechnic, the laneway. I think it's just a couple of metres away from the Pauline one, opposite the Deaf Dancer.
This one's been here for a while too.
Yeah.
It was pre him becoming president.
Yes. Now this is one of the Vic Roads kind of boxes where they keep all their smarts for the traffic lights and that. And this is up in Princess Close, which is on the other side of Chapel Street, heading back up to Commercial Road.
Yeah, the funny thing about the Melbourne traffic system and counting cars and seeing where they go, they could just look on Google Maps.
This is at Greville Street. So earlier we looked at Greville Records. This is at the Chapel Street end of Greville Street. Just some nice looking snail piano house.
I suspect it's an ad for the business in that building, music house.
Possibly. This is in Chatham Street, which is another street up, so it's near a car park, and there's some nice hawks. There's a cafe just opposite that, where I think you get a nice view of this.
Cool. Felix!
This is back in Artist Lane. Felix. Love Felix.
Stick your hand up if you're old enough to remember Felix.
Yeah. Now the next one's one of my favourites. This is in Artist Lane. Absolutely wonderful piece of work, and you can see that they're doing what I call the Paul Pavlich salute, which is the salute we offer to Paul every time we see him.
Naughty.
But it's quite a nice piece, this one.
I think this one gets retouched because I've seen it tagged and then seen it clean again.
I think one of the reasons this area is there are supposedly some studios in there, and some of the artists have actually done and some of the work.
Well, they shouldn't be tagging. Tagging is inappropriate when it comes to street art, I believe.
This one is by Scar 3am. It's quite a nice piece of work.
Beautiful.
For those who know this area, at the bottom of Chapel Street, not in across the road in St Kilda, they've also done the public toilets. So places like public toilets are quite often tagged and banned, things like that. I don't think it's been touched in several years that they've had the work done on the toilets, but it's a similar style work to it.
Yeah, the people I work for have buildings all over the place in public, and they've had murals done on most of them now, and they don't get tagged very much at all.
Commissioned by the employer?
Yes.
Okay.
This is again Artist Lane. I think there's a few more that coming up are all Artist Lane, and then back to the back of
Cool.
the arts there. So again, you can just see up in that top corner where the bees are. So this is again on that back of that building.
That looks
And
quite
where
large.
a car park, it is quite large, yeah. It's a fantastic piece of work. And this is on, again, on the other side. I do like this, the way they kind of, if you look carefully inside the peacock, it looks a little bit like an elephant as well. If this being the truck.
I can't believe some inappropriate tags on top of this artwork. It's
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
insane.
This has been there since the 80s.
Yep. So this is Hornby Street, which is
Born in the 80s.
Baby.
Yeah. Gonna say something like that too.
I was busy dropping out of uni when you were born.
So there's a couple of pieces here from Hornby Street, which is just a little street just off High Street, not far from Chapel Street. There's a little cafe, and this I think is the roller door that opens to a little cafe space.
Is it that looks like the redheads lady a bit?
It certainly does,
Yeah.
except she's not red. Redheads is a brand of matches in Australia.
Probably our premier brand. We've lost the host.
I think he's going to get the red matches to show people what they look like.
I had to get this for
Anyway,
Australian
while
sense of
he's
humour,
gone, I'll take over the.
because
Yeah.
Dick Smith released his own version of Redheads.
Hey, I love dickheads. They're cool.
Dickheads. Yeah. This again is down at Windsor Sidings.
Meats obviously don't die in an hour because we've just gone over it.
Yeah. This is now those ones that I showed earlier, all Artist Lane. This is actually on the corner of Artist Lane. It's quite a cool. I think there's now a retro second-hand shop in there and a vending machine from film Never Die. So if you after
They lost my film.
no.
Yeah. I use Van Buren Hills these days. An exploding Pink Panther.
Yes, earlier Paul showed Victoria Gardens. So this is on the street at the back of Victoria Gardens. There's this old milk bar that's now been made into a neighbourhood cafe, and that's one of the things within this area of Prahran. A lot of the old milk bars have been renovated and served now as little local cafes and coffee shops.
Or houses.
Some are houses, yes, but they're, I think there's even not far from the Windsor End, there's a deli and things like that, little in the side streets. So, this is again not far from Chapel of Chapel. It's in Bang Street, I think, in Prahran. There's a couple of pieces of work near a park.
There's COVID Central behind them too. The big tall flats.
And this is also near housing commissions, which became a big hole in the ground.
In the area that I lived in Prahran, one person had 2 floors of that. A local gangster.
Huh. Yeah.
don't think this one's there. So this what we moved into now is the skate park at Prahran. So this is up again, not far from Chapel of Chapels.
I face planted about there.
Yeah. And you can still see the dint. I haven't been able to get it out yet.
Yeah. This ramp, I mentioned to Terry when he showed me this the first time, it's slightly beyond vertical, so when you drop off the lip at the top, you fall 1.5 meters before you touch the steel.
So these are just these little things stuck in around the skate park. And this is amazing. This one hasn't been tagged too much. But this is Welcome to Prahran at the skate park.
Yeah.
So obviously it's the council's effort to try and look cool in with the young people. Earl Street, which is one of the side streets off Chapel Street. I'll have to look at the map exactly. This is the top of the car park in Prahran Central.
Yep.
So it's a little shopping, rather uninteresting shopping centre. Medical suites in there, and a few normal, a few foodie places, and fashion stores and phone shops and stuff. I think we have another view of that. This is at the back of. This is at the Commercial and Chapel, so Cato Street. So little laneways hidden in there. This is opposite where we were at Prahran Central. Another piece of work by Deb. This is going back. This is in the appropriately named Bowling Green Street. It's a piece of work at the Melbourne Bowls Club, one of the oldest bowling clubs in Melbourne, I believe. It's just not that far away from it.
Adam, you looked like this in the meetup the other day, the one at midnight.
The other day.
Yeah.
You notice I don't have the camera on today.
We're back at Artist Lane.
I didn't. Paul mentioned to me that Adam, were you at the meetup that I was at in South Melbourne Markets? But I don't think I met you back then. Well, I didn't speak to you back then.
I can't recall that meetup, to be honest.
No, it's the one in the city, Max.
Okay.
So these
Yeah,
are all,
look, I'm sorry, Max.
It was 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, so I don't remember either. But what I'm trying to say is that we should meet up sometime, because it'd be great to meet you after the lockdown.
Yeah. Like I sent you a message back after your last message.
Indeed. So stupid
We'll catch
lockdown.
up.
Right? Yeah, let's do it.
We'll be allowed out again soon.
we will.
I hope so.
I never voted for the COVID party to begin with. I'm anti-COVID. I'm proud.
I thought you were usually trying to give it to us.
I think this is now getting paintball, but it was. You can see there the little emblem from the paint spot, which used to be a couple of doors up the street from this. That's now kind of shut down. And one of the interesting things, I think, Paint Spot, the store, used to be an old theatre. And so it's there are several cinemas along. Used to be several cinemas along Chapel Street in the lower end. This is a big piece of work that we could see from the street earlier. But this is the top of. So this is from a car park on top of Prahran Central.
And this was a photo walk we did in 2018, I think.
Yep, this is from that walk. Yep.
It was a hot day.
It was quite a nice day, I think.
Bloody long walk too. What idiot organised that? Oh, it might have been me.
I think I contributed a bit too. And this is right down the back. This is, I think from memory, in a laneway off Vine Street. So it's right down the bottom, just off Dandenong Road.
So what do you reckon, you lot? Is this Jane Bunn or not?
I don't know. And I think that's
it's a.
That!
back. So we're back to the start, back to the ones I showed earlier.
Well, I want to exclude.
It's this one. Yes, this one I added in this morning call. I thought, this is
Literal street art.
Literal street art. On the other side, there's another one on the other side there. There's a few things there. You know, you see the seating on the other side. It's similar on this side of the street, but this is a mosaic that obviously the council has put at one of the pedestrian crossings.
Very
I've seen
cool.
that sort of thing before in Kensington, I think, near the race course.
Yeah.
And that pretty much brings us to the end of the day. So thank you very much to the people who are watching on stream and the ones who have joined us in the meetup. Excuse my hiccups. It's been a fun way. And as Max said earlier, this was originally intended to be a physical walk, but lockdown started on Thursday, so we had a bit of a what do we do now meet and came up with this.
Good one.
And we're excited to exclusively announce here that
Free COVID for everyone.
The next Google meetup, local guides meetup in Melbourne, will be COVID in person, COVID permitting, in late August. So late August, we're going to do a food crawl in Chadstone because it's very cold in Melbourne right now. So it's going to be a food crawl in Chadstone. So keep your diaries ready keep your eyes open. We'll announce that soon.
I think Chadstone's a tier 1 site at the moment.
It is a tier 1 site, or on one day, certain elements of Chadstone are, yes.
I was quite lucky. I went to the Aldi in Maribyrnong, and I was very happy that Google Maps timeline helped me out because it showed that I'd left the place before the COVID case got there.
Look,
That's a long way from home, isn't it, for you, Paul?
Pardon?
Isn't that a long way from home?
My outlaws live over there.
Ah.
Your what laws?
My outlaws.
Haven't you heard that term, Max?
I haven't.
Very, very nice people.
What we should actually make clear is that it's not a real COVID outbreak until somebody's had an exposure at either a Bunnings or Chadstone. I don't take them seriously. It wouldn't matter how many people there were, but as soon as it's we've got Bunnings as an exposure site, I know this is a genuine outbreak.
Yep. And it comes with a $2.25 sausage.
Yes.
$2.75 if you get a drink too. Cool. Well, thank you very much, guys. It's been fun putting this together. And we will do the physical one when we get an opportunity.
When we're allowed to.
Yep.
Yes.
So we will look forward to bringing that to you.
But we won't eat at all the venues that we've mentioned. We probably won't eat at all the venues that we've mentioned. That would be a huge day.
God, we could try.
What we have tried to do is cover the types of places we were intending to visit.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys. And I look forward to your meetup, Max. And I look forward to being able to run this one for real. And perhaps if we're really lucky, maybe getting a 36 going next year. If enough of the world's got the jab.
Yes, that would be great.
Yeah. If you're listening and you haven't got the jab, go get the jab. If you haven't got it, you're what's keeping us in. All right, folks.
Jab.
And I'm very surprised because Max hasn't turned up as COVID yet. He usually does.
Where is it?
We're going to wait while he does this, and then we'll finish up. So thanks for joining us on the stream. I hope you find it good. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, welcome. Feel free to comment. And if you're a Melbourne person, then keep an eye out for us. Have a look for Melbourne Local Guides on Instagram. There he is. And Photograph Melbourne on Instagram. We're almost synonymous, the two groups these days. We're kind of just one. And we do lots of walkarounds, meetups. We go get food. We have beer. You name it, we do it. And we haven't been overly active in the last year and a half, but I guess you can understand why. And we were just starting to get going again.
That came back again.
Yep. But like it, we'll be back too. See you later. Have a good one,
Cheers,
folks. See ya.